be here with you this afternoon. I had to get things set up so it would actually be cool while we're doing Juneteenth celebration. So if you are here with me live, let me know who you are, where you're coming in from, because I'm letting you know your girl is really with Juneteenth. I have really been thinking the last few days about about traveling to other countries, living elsewhere. So I would love to know where you are chiming in from, whether it's somewhere where I am here in the US or it's somewhere else in the world. I would love to know where you're coming in from. So definitely say hi. If you're catching this on the replay, again, say hi. Let me know where you're chiming in from and what country or what area, because different parts of the world think a little bit differently about different things. And this is Juneteenth, which, obviously I have my notes here, guys, with me again, especially on these lives. I have to have notes. Otherwise, I'll just go everywhere. But really on Juneteenth, one of the things I'm really thinking about quite a lot is liberation, is freedom, is our own sovereignty. And that's why I'd like to know, what is the situation like around where you are? How free do you feel? How sovereign do you feel where in your neck of the woods, wherever that is? Hey, Abel. Oh, Puerto Rico. Yes, I would love to know how things are going over there. How free are you feeling in Puerto Rico right now? How do you feel like your upward mobility is? I really do want to know about this because it's so important during this really special Juneteenth live stream celebration we're doing right now to talk about those things, right? We want to be able to lift each other up no matter where we are in the world, right? So I would love for us to start making connections. Literally just jumped off from a client who is in Huntington Beach, who found someone where I live, right? So you just never know where the connections are going to come from. And I would love for you guys to make some connections in here. So in case you don't know me, hello, I'm Africa Archield, and I'm here talking about your liberation, your freedom, your sovereignty, your legacy. That's what we're going to be talking about during this time. And Juneteenth, is not just a moment in history, right? To me, it kind of goes even beyond a moment in history, though I'm going to get to the history here in a hot minute. This is also a time where, like I said, our liberty, our sovereignty, all of those things I really want you to be thinking about, right? Because only you can make those things happen. Only you can get sovereignty and liberty for yourself, right? It does, what do they say? It takes a village to raise a child. And yes, we all do this together. Hello, Jinx. Hello, Metallica 72. I love Metallica. It does take a village to bring us all together. And we can do great things together. But when push comes to shove, there is part of that you have to take ownership of yourself. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to hand you over sovereignty. No one's coming to hand you over liberty. So even though, yes, this is a celebration of Juneteenth, that was just a day. It was just the beginning. We are still living that right now. Right now. We are still living that right now. So, again, go ahead. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about why Juneteenth is actually pretty important to me. Not just because I'm a Black American, right? But because of a history, right? My great-grandmother, she used to tell me, Texas, nice, Jinx. Of course, Juneteenth is about Texas, isn't it? My great-grandmother was enslaved in Texas. So it wasn't that long ago, I'm not that old. And I have to admit, my great grandmother died when she was 106. At least that's what we think, because there are no definitive birth records, because they didn't really keep birth records on enslaved people. Funny how that works. So she was enslaved. She remembers people coming to the plantation to say that they were free. Now, did this actually happen on Juneteenth? I don't know. She didn't know. But she remembers being a very young child in this happening. And I'm pretty sure it was like a celebration and a lot of fear and trepidation, right? Let's just be honest. It is scary to get your freedom, because if you have been bogged down so long, whether enslaved or not, you don't exactly know what to do with said freedom. You don't know how to capitalize on that freedom because you've never had it before. And the people you know have never had it before either. And that was the situation that my great grandmother and her parents found themselves in, and her siblings too. Right? No one knew anything about this freedom. Like, all of a sudden, imagine, you're free. Great. How do I get a job and make a living now? How do I get a roof over my head? Like, what is this transition like? And will I make it through the transition? And when I think about my great grandmother, I think, holy crap, that woman saw so much over the course of the years, from being enslaved to seeing cars, right? She was around for the Model T and the flappers, and sending someone into space to the moon. Like, that's buck wild. To seeing interracial marriage, like, that was unheard of when she was a child. To seeing the civil rights amendment go into place, all of those things. She passed, when I was in college, so first Black president, didn't get to see that, but did get to see other races in places of power in the government and in commerce in her lifetime. From being enslaved and no one cared if you lived or died, to that in politics and in commerce. Like, that's crazy pants. That's crazy pants. And yet the struggle continues, right? Just because, she also got to see women get the right to vote. Like, that wasn't even going on when she was born, or even when she was a teenager. Even as a younger person. No, a young adult. No, women didn't even have the right to vote. And of course, eventually, Blacks got the right to vote. But think of all that progress that happened in her lifetime, which she would think would be insane. Her parents definitely would have found it insane. But yet, that's what we do. We progress. We move forward. We don't move backwards. Right? We keep moving forward. And in this slow movement forward, which seems kind of fast when you think about it in a lifetime, or even the greater scheme of things, there's still more work to be done, especially for women to be sovereign. Again, when I was born, women finally could have a bank account, a house, a loan, etc., without a male relative. That was just in my lifetime. Just in my lifetime. So still more progress is being made that we need to continue to capitalize on. I think capitalizing on this progress is the most important thing we could do. And not to be complacent, thinking it's always going to be like it is right now, that these hard-fought rights that women have, that people of color have, that people in the LGBTQ plus community have, that they're always going to be here, because baby, they're not. They are not. And yes, Jamil, of course, Puerto Rico is a U.S. Commonwealth. People think Puerto Rico is a whole different country and it's not part of the U.S. You don't know how many American citizens during, what was it? Can't remember the name of the hurricane. I want to say it was Hurricane Maria, but I could be wrong. And I was fighting with people in my own town about it. I'm like, really? How ignorant are you? How ignorant are you to treat American citizens as second class? Oh, it was Maria. Okay. It just made me so angry because there's this desire, and it's not just in the US. This is many, many places around the world, to label someone else as a foreigner as if those people sprouted from the land itself that they're in. Because it didn't. For the most part, they didn't. Most of the Americans that you hear screaming foreigners are actually children of immigrants or children of those who were enslaved and brought over against their will. Like, U.S. has been big into human trafficking for a while, when you think about it. And not that they were the worst offenders with enslaving people. That belongs to Central and South America. We just hear the most about the U.S., but definitely something that happened at a greater proportion in Central and South America. So just, throwing out real history there for us. So more progress needs to be made in how we treat each other. And even in the midst of all this, while we're waiting for this progress to be made in treatment of one another, the way we tip the scales, the way that we move the Overton window on these things, is by playing within the system. Playing within the system. Now, I'm not big on the current systems that we have now. If they're antiquated, many are slowly fading away anyway. And there's this, what I call the death throes of what's happening with capitalism right now across the world. Like, it's not working. It was never meant to work, because it was meant to be so insanely extractive. And we are still in a capitalistic society, right? And so we still need to play within the system as we create new systems. In fact, the client I was just talking to is working on creating a new system. Both things have to happen at the same time. And in both systems, we have to be sovereign. In both systems. Because we're here. We're in the in-between. We're the ones making this thing happen. That's the assignment we came down here for. So how do we make this actually happen? How do we make our way in the current system? And how do we boost these other systems that people are coming up with? Right? Because I know it's not just going to be this system that my client's working on. They're working on a system called time baking, which has been around for a while, that's starting to take hold in different areas of the country. Here in the US, will it work overall? Can it work for international commerce? I don't know. It's an idea. And there's going to have to be a lot of ideas that come out and work, right? Where we actually see all kinds of work as valuable. There's one thing that I have to remind a lot of my clients of, because most of my clients are women. They don't take into account all the emotional labor that they do for their clients. All the spiritual and emotional labor they do for their clients. That's important, because when those things are usually, I don't want to say people take advantage, but they just don't think about it as something valuable. That's the valuable piece. That spiritual and emotional labor that we do for other people. That is a valuable piece. It's a hugely valuable piece, because you can't just get that. It's not just a doodad. It's not just something you can go look up on the internet or ask an AI agent to do for you. They can't do that spiritual and emotional piece. That's us as humans that do that. Highly valuable. And we just say, it's no big deal. Who cares? We won't charge for that. or we're not going to be seen as valuable for that. And that's insanity. That's the glue. That spiritual and emotional labor is the glue that holds families and communities and whole societies together. Yet we devalue that labor? What the hell? How does that even make sense? No, that's a piece that needs to stop. That is part of working in this capitalist system while making other systems, is starting to help people actually recognize the value of spiritual and emotional labor, and for them to value the spiritual and emotional labor that they do themselves. So it is definitely twofold, because I don't know about you, but me as a woman, especially a woman of color, I've been just told that that's just the thing that I do and not to worry about it. I don't need to be paid for it. It doesn't really matter. But thank you. If I decide to even thank you, right? That love that we emanate and project out into a world that calms other people, that makes them feel safe. Oh yeah, that's nothing. You know how much crap that is? It is a lot of something. And I need you to really, I don't want to say get it in your head, but feel it in your heart. Let it sit and anchor into your body. That labor that you have been doing, that you've been told is nothing or not a big deal, is every fucking thing. Everything. Right? Whew, sorry. That I obviously had to come out. We are still fighting and still reclaiming, even from when my great grandmother was a child and got out of slavery. We were still clawing and fighting to be seen as equal, right? Not treated, like Emil says, second-class citizens. To be honest about it, people in Puerto Rico, especially from view of you, most people in the U.S., it's not even second class. Second class is for women. Third, fourth class is for people of color, people in the LGBTQ community. And then some class after that is probably Puerto Rico, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Right? Like they're barely even on the radar. It's crazy. When there shouldn't be those classes of people in the first place. Should be treated as equals. We're all seen as equal in the light of the universe, divine. We're all equal. We're all the same. So I don't know, like, where we get off power tripping with all these divisions. It's crazy. All right. I want to talk about money, because it would be disingenuous of me to bring up some of these things and not actually talk about the money. Right? Of course, I'm doing a series right now on building your own personal economy. The first video is already dropped. Make sure you watch the rest of those videos. Also did an entire, I think it was 6-part series on reclaiming money. Definitely watch that whole series. So I'm bringing up that as something you can do proactively right now to start reframing your money mindset, to start creating a better relationship with money, and obviously to start building your own economy and to become sovereign, where you're not reliant on other people. You can rely on yourself, because you can't always rely on other people, as many women have found out over time, because their partners just discarded them, and then they had nothing, and a lot of times they had nothing and children. And that was not fun. It was not fun at all. All right. So here's the thing that school did not teach us about freedom. Right? On Juneteenth, freedom didn't arrive with emancipation. I kind of said that before. It's like, oh boy, now what? Right? We're still trying to figure out and carve out what freedom means to each of us, and to define it as a whole in society, right? And I think this is especially true as women and people of color. We're still struggling with these different ideas of what freedom is. Because you hear, I have the freedom to impose my views on other people. And you hear that from all sides, by the way. And is that freedom? Is that freedom from the person you're imposing it on? I mean, this idea of freedom to me is very tenuous as a definition in and of itself. And we have to keep striving for our idea of freedom because each of us is probably building something that no one else has in our bloodline. Right? We are the dreams and hopes and desires of our ancestors. And trust me, they fought and scraped and went crazy to get us here. We are literally standing on the shoulders of giants. We are birthed out of giants. Right? So right now, I would say this, and this is something that our ancestors knew. Freedom is owning your voice. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Freedom is owning your voice. Right? Owning your voice. That means coming out and say what you need to say. And being true to yourself. Freedom is owning your time. This, when you're going through a 9 to 5, is a little harder. You don't really own your time, do you? Somebody else does. But real freedom, I think this is true. Like everyone agree on this. Real freedom is owning your time. That you get to decide what you want to do when you want to do it. So for me, the freedom of owning my time means I can wake up at 10 in the morning because guess what? I don't see clients till 11. But if I decide to wake up at 6, that's fine too. I still don't see clients till 11. Real freedom is that I get to go to bed if I want to at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, or I get to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. Why? I see clients at 11. That's early sissy. And owning my time a little bit more, I see clients Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I rarely see clients on Monday or on Friday. That was a deliberate choice. Now, do I have some openings for specific kinds of clients on Mondays and Fridays? Yeah, I do. Because I can get real busy Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But again, I made that choice. And I remember making that very deliberate choice about owning my time when I was in college. And let me know if you've made some choices about how you're owning your time. I would love to read about it in the comments. How you're defining freedom, I'd love to read about it in the comments. Back in college, I decided I didn't want to go to class on Monday or Friday because I wanted the freedom to travel back home on the weekends so that I could leave Thursday night or Friday morning and be able to come back on Monday and not be stuck in the Sunday traffic going back, to college campus. So I made the deliberate decision to have a hell of hard days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Right? Classes all damn day, Tuesday and Thursday. And if I had labs, I tried to always schedule those on Wednesdays. So I had it rough 3 days a week to have it easy 4. I made that conscious decision about my time. And then many years later, when I decided to go in business for myself and realized I could actually tell people when I wanted to meet with them, I made that decision again that I only meet people Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and only after 11. I know it sounds crazy to some people, but only after 11. But it works for me. And you know what? I haven't had a problem with one client saying, oh, I can't do that. They can always find a time to meet with me. Funny how that works when you start owning your time. What's the other thing you need to own? You need to own your money. And like I said, for women, for people of color, that started happening in the 60s, for people of color in general, in the 70s for everybody. Owning your money. Having a bank account without having a guy on it, a male relative. Right? Owning your money. So if you say, oh, I'm not good with money, honey, it hasn't been that long since women could have money on their own anyway. We're getting good with money. And to be honest, studies have shown women are better with money than men. That might surprise you. You might be falling for the old notion that women are bad at math and bad with money. And both of those are bullshit. Who got us to the moon? A bunch of Black women. That's who got us to the moon with their math. So don't fall into that. Those tropes that are out there. They're just lies meant to what? Push you down. Right? Own your money. Okay, Jinx said they did something similar for college, but they still liked Mondays sometimes. In 2.5, I was in college. I rarely did Friday unless it was the only thing available. Right, yeah, sometimes I had to say, ooh, the only time that's available for this class I really, really, really want to take is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I had to acquiesce to the schedule. But that wasn't my norm. Just like my norm is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But sometimes I meet with clients Monday or Friday. Yeah. It is really good to have ownership of your time in that capacity. There's this satisfaction in owning your time in that way. And I think you'll find also that same satisfaction is there when you own your voice and when you own your money. Ah, yes, Tuesday, Thursday, baby, that's how it is. So, how we build our own economies? Owning our voice, owning our time, owning our money. Now, are there some other concrete things we need to do? Sure. But what is the basis for it? Owning your voice, owning your time, owning your money. Right? That is also how we build legacies. So we not only build our personal economy, we also build legacies when we do these things. That legacy is changing the direction of our ancestral DNA. We're literally recoding ourselves when we do these things. To me, that's what's so important, is that recoding is happening. We're helping our children and their children and their children. People talk a lot about generational wealth. And a lot of America is suffering from, at least America and probably other parts of the world, suffering from generational poverty. Right? No one talks about money. No one has money to pass down. No one understands the different vehicles that can be used, again, in this capitalist society. As we're moving to something new and different that we're starting to lift up, those things will change. And what we need to be flexible and change with them. But right now, we've also got to work in the constructs that we have. So understanding those things. I know I talked about a lot of this, I think, in episode 5 of the Money Reclamation series. So if you haven't watched that episode, I go a lot into some of those different vehicles, some of those different things you can do to set up so that money flows from one generation to the next to begin to get out of a cycle of generational poverty and move into generational wealth. All right. So I want to talk about 3 soulful ways to practice legacy today, right? First thing what you do is to reclaim your money story, right? it was, I don't know what I saw earlier today or listened to earlier today. Like sometimes I don't know if I watch something or I hear something. It's just in there. That's what I'm going to say, because I wish I could point to who it was who said this. But you are allowed to want more. You're allowed to want more, and that's okay. You're allowed to love money, and that's okay. You're allowed to want more and more and more and more and more some more, right? That desire isn't evil, right? If you're still in the paradigm of good and evil in that capacity, that desire isn't evil. That desire is holy. That is, is it an innate desire to experience that kind of abundance? It's perfectly okay. Some people don't have that desire to have the more and more and then some more. Like they have zero desire for that. And that's okay. Everyone's on a different abundance journey. We all live it in some capacity. And some of those people who seem to not want money want abundance in other things. And they go have that kind of abundance. And you could have money abundance. Or someone else could be like really into time abundance. Like whatever that is for you, it's okay to want more and then some more and even more than that. Right? In that way, follow your true desires. Not what people are telling you that you should want, but your actual true desires. Those that are coming from your heart. Those that are coming in from your soul. And sometimes it takes a moment to quiet your mind and to tap in to what you want and not what others are telling you to want. Not what society's telling your family's told you or what have you. Right? To tap into what you really want. All right. Other thing is, this is showing my bias. Own your own business. Own your own business, right? As a vehicle for change. So some of you are like, but I don't want to own a business. Then do stuff inside wherever you work now as a vehicle for change. Start a movement, whatever it is, do what needs to be done to make change. I hope I can say this right. Rosbuzz, hello, how you doing? Glad you're here. Let us know where you're coming in from. But do what you can to make change. That's really too important, because for the people I work with, right? I work with a lot of women who are starting their own business or scaling their business. It's not just about selling a service. It's about making change for themselves and their families and in their community. And for some of them, it's global. So what can you do to create a vehicle for change? Right? And really reshape not only your financial power, but your spiritual power. Do not think that spirituality and money are like two separate things. They are locked in together, my dear. Locked in together. The third thing that you can do today for liberation, right? For legacy, is to stop waiting for permission. You don't need to wait for permission anymore, right? You don't need to wait for permission. If you're waiting to be asked at a table, build your own table. If you're waiting for someone to open the door, go through the window. Build your own door, like whatever. Put up your own stage. You don't have to ask for permission. I talked to a client, this had to be last month. They're like, oh, I need pictures of me speaking on stage. I don't have any speaking engagements. I'm like, go to an auditorium that's set up for speaking, get on the stage and have someone take pictures. The stages are there. Just go get on one, right? We know that you speak, you just don't have photographic evidence of it, right? If it isn't an image, it isn't real, it didn't happen. So many things happen before pictures. right? I want you to stop waiting for permission and go do the damn thing. Just go do it. Right? So, what do they used to say? I guess I even said this as a teenager, especially. It's better for me to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. In this case, when you're waiting for permission, you're putting up roadblocks to your own dreams. And I see it way too often. I've seen myself do it way too often. Well, in order for me to do X, Y, and Z, I need to do A, B, and C. And then I could, no, just go do it. Go do it. So, what I want to know is, out of these 3 soulful ways to practice legacy today, which way are you thinking of? Which thing are you gonna like do right now? Are you gonna number one is reclaim your money story. Number 2, own your own business as a vehicle for change, or have that vehicle for change. Or 3, stop waiting for permission. Hello, Sydney the Poet. Let me know in the chat. Is it 1, 2, or 3? Which way are you going to use to practice legacy today? Which thing are you going to do right now? I'm so curious to see. It said 1 is reclaim your money story. And if you're watching the replay, yeah, you need to drop the number in. 1 is reclaiming your money story. 2 is starting your own business or using your own business as a vehicle for change. And 3 is to stop waiting for permission. Go do the damn thing. I would love to know down in the chat which one it is, 1, 2, or 3. Oh, well, why not 3, Emil? Why not 3? Right? You don't have to ask for permission anymore. You don't have to wait to be invited. You can just go do the damn thing. And I know you, Emil, you are making some big moves right now. And keep making those moves. And do the things that scare you. All right, Jinx says, I think 1, because I have 2 and 3 combined with my book coming out this summer. Yeah, you do. Book coming out, that's gonna bring up a lot of your stuff, especially around visibility. So it's a good time to reclaim your money story. I love that. All right. I'm going to, if anyone else has questions or anything like that, please put them down to the chat. I would love to answer questions. If you want me to pull a card for you, please ask me to do that down in the chat and kind of give me some context, because I have 3 different decks in front of me, and that'll help me figure out which deck to pull from. But I want to give you some affirmations to use, right? So I do want to read them. So I'm going to actually pick this up and bring it over here. I do want to read them off to you. And you can repeat them after me. That's probably a good idea, right? It's not many, but I think it's perfect as we think about Juneteenth and we think about legacy and liberation. Oh, the first one's one of the things I just went off on earlier. Go ahead and repeat after me. I am the dream of my ancestors. I build boldly. I lead with light. I am wealthy. I am legacy. I am free. All right. Like I said, if you want a card pulled or you have any questions, this is definitely the time to ask. I did want to pull a card for the collective. And this is getting pulled from the Gaia Oracle. I haven't pulled this one out in a while, and I just really felt called to have it today for us. So I'm going to go ahead and pull from here for the collective and see what we get. I'm very excited. Oh, come here. It's been, like I said, it's been a while since I've used this particular deck. But again, if you've got questions or you want me to pull a card, please let me know. That's the beauty of being here live, baby. All right. So for the collective, I pulled the Temptress. Seductive deceit, a broken promise. Seductive deceit, a broken promise. Really interesting to have come up for our liberation and legacy, isn't it? This is card 15. I won't read I might read the whole thing because it's not very long. All right. So, I'm wondering the trickiness for this card because it's a very interesting card. Okay. You are being seduced with dazzling promises that will mostly not eventuate. Y'all, what were the people who are enslaved told? Not to worry about tomorrow because they would be given 20 acres and a mule by the government. That's what they were told. Did that happen? Let me know in the comments. Did that happen for those people who are enslaved? Did they get their 20 acres and a mule? Okay, in effect, you're being deceived, enticed into accepting something that will cause you much difficulty and eventually lead only to disappointment. Don't be seduced by the glitz and glamour or the holy or benevolent facade. Things are not what they seem. Incredible promise or simply that, incredible. Observe the image on this card. The temptress entices you with her sensuous beauty and exotic surrounding. Yet just behind her is the all-seeing eye of truth. It is staring you in the face all along. Take a few steps back. Look at things from an objective and balanced perspective, and the real picture and hidden agenda will emerge. Ooh. I'm trying to look on here. I see the all-seeing eye. I'm going to hold this up for you guys. What an interesting card. So, hey, I hope that speaks to you guys. But I just think it's interesting. We're talking about Juneteenth and the promises that were made to those who were enslaved and how those are very much promises broken and people are still fighting for the promise that was made. And it's been more than 100 years, people. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. Promises made, promises broken. Don't worry, things will get better. Mañana, mañana, mañana. It'll be better tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And so many things have been done, especially to majority minority communities, to make them more and more unstable. Any prosperity was wiped out. If you think about what happened in Oklahoma, they essentially torched Black Wall Street because they were mad these people had too much money. These Black people had too much money, right? And many communities and many people of, like I said, majority minority groups who have come into wealth or prominence, their communities or their businesses were systematically attacked. Like, that's not for you, that's for somebody else. Are those things changing? Can we point to people where those things have changed for them? Of course we can, especially in sports and entertainment, right? But it hasn't changed for enough people. And people who were systematically attacked, people who were systematically denied access to loans, things to get ahead for their businesses and their communities, that has had lasting effects. Again, not just in the US, but all around the world. So even as earlier I said, hey, tell me where you're coming in from because I want to know, because I want to travel. when I travel, I also have to think, how am I going to be treated there? Wherever it is I travel, wherever it is I want to stay more than a week, how am I going to be treated? How am I going to be looked at? Am I going to feel like I have to look over my shoulder all the time? That is something that I've lived with my whole life, except for one place I've lived. One place. And I wish that place was everywhere. It's a dream. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe not in my lifetime or that of my children, but maybe my great, 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 great grandchildren. Who knows if the world is even here with all the crap we're doing to the environment, but I will not get on that soapbox right now. So I would love to know, what does legacy mean to you? Earlier I asked about freedom. Now I'm asking about legacy. Right? Because this is about liberation, legacy. What does legacy mean to you? I would love to know what it means to you in the comments. Just in your own words. What does it mean to leave a legacy? Right? You know, as you're getting that together or you're watching this, right, on the replay, either way, I want to know if you're thinking about, hey, you know what item was that? And I've got to scroll back up here. Item number 2, if you're thinking about owning your own business and you're like, I think that's what I want to do, right, as my vehicle for change, as the thing that I will use to leave a legacy for my family. That's something that you're thinking about, reach out to me. You can do a cosmic consultation and we can just talk that through, like talk through the idea. I've helped a lot of people start businesses. I've helped a lot of people scale their business. And I've helped people decide it wasn't for them. So know that it could go either way. When we get on the phone on our little Zoom call, I could say, yeah, this sounds great, and you can do this, this, and this. Or we could at the end realize, maybe starting a business isn't for me right now. Right? Maybe it isn't for me right now. And that's okay. Right? That's okay. All right, Jinx says, sorry, leaving a lasting impression that lasts after you die. That's what legacy means. Leaving a lasting impression that lasts after you die. I love that for legacy. It doesn't always have to be stuff. It could be an impression. It could be an idea that permeates through time. I love that, Jinx. I love that a lot. As we wrap up, I want to remind everyone, in the link in the description, there's a link in the description right at the top, I believe, for Claim Your Cash Crown. It's a Sacred Wealth Kickstarter. Be sure to pick that up if you haven't already. Click that link, download it. It's free. It's for you. It's free. Be sure to check that out and you can get on your way. I think I have an audio that included in there to start helping you with money mindset. So definitely check that out. And like I said, if you want to just kick around an idea, you could book a a cosmic consultation with me. If there's stuff and muck that you know you need to clear out, that would be the Soulful Reset. All right. I hope that you enjoyed today in this short time we had together. And remember, you are the legacy. You are the hopes and dreams of your ancestors. Don't let anyone strip away your rights that have been hard fought over time. Let that settle in. Hard fought over time. Don't let that get taken away from you. Don't let it be stripped away. And make sure, like I said, a vehicle for change, however you're doing that vehicle for change. So we want to leave the world better than we found it, right? All right. Peace, joy, love. to you.